I'm going to read you this article from the newspaper in Kentucky. This is a Kentucky article. First time I'm reading it, and I want to react. All right, here we go. Admitting, it says, the title is Proposed Bill Would Allow Firearm Removal, which is a very troublesome title. That's why. All right, here we go. Admitting it faces a tough uphill climb, Republican State Senator Whitney Westerfield filed a bill January 25th that would allow judges to temporarily remove firearms from Kentuckians. Senator Westerfield would temporarily allow judges to temporarily remove firearms from Kentuckians at risk of harming themselves or others. All right, let me get this over so I can kind of. I'd like to look at you, but I got to read this. So there's more support for it than you hear. All right, Senator Westerfield says there's more support for his bill than you hear. That's a lie. He's lying. He made that up just to support his own bill. I am a citizen of Kentucky, and it don't matter what county or region you live in, 99% of Kentuckians are not going to support this bill. Westerfield said of his measure, when he calls the crisis aversion, this is what he calls it, the Crisis Aversion and Rights Retention Orders Bill, or CAR, C-A-R-R. Westerfield of Christian County said Senate Bill 13 is the cleanest version and comes after feedback from his colleagues during a December intermediate hearing before the Joint Committee on Judiciary. I don't know what all that means. It's just they had a meeting. Draft language of the bill says law enforcement cannot enter a person's home or interior premises to gather their guns unless that person needs and requests assistance in doing so. I'll talk about this in a minute. Police must give a receipt to the respondent detailing what guns were taken. While the CAR order is in effect, the respondent cannot possess or buy any guns. The court must tell the respondent is the guy or girl that are getting their guns taken away. This is very interesting. The court must tell the respondent that they are not being charged with a crime and that they have the right to rebuttal the decision. So, law enforcement cannot enter a person's home and go into their house unless, this is without any crime being committed, unless to gather their guns, unless the person needs and requests assistance in doing so. Okay, so if I thought I was a threat to society, I would call the police, the sheriff's office, and tell them to come and get my guns because I'm a menace to society. Well, nobody's going to do that. Like, one person out of, 200,000 might do that? Well, anyway, so they can't come in on their own. You got to call them and ask them to come and get your guns, which if you're in trouble and you're in that kind of shape, you need to call your family or a close friend and have them come and get your guns. You don't have to involve the police. All this, I'll just wait till I say what I'm thinking. We don't want to take, all right, I'm starting to read again. We don't want to take away guns from people who are law-abiding citizens. Westerfield said Thursday on a supporter rally. We want to step in temporarily to keep people safe. We don't want it to be abused. That's a lie. We want to do something responsible, constitutional, to keep people safe. And that's what Carr does. So he doesn't want this bill, this law, to be abused, which it will be. And you know, I said that's a lie, and it is a lie, because either he's lying or somebody higher up than him has convinced him that this is a good idea, and they're lying to him. There's a lie in here somewhere. Somebody's lying to somebody, or they're all lying, and they know what they're trying to do. This is not a gun grab bill, said Yates. Public safety has got to be a top priority. It is a gun grab. That's what it is. What you got to realize is once you're in so much trouble that your mind is frantic and you maybe do need help, they're going to come in without you calling them and asking them. They're going to come in and say, we're going to take your guns to make you safer. Well, they say this stuff in a way that it makes sense. Well, yeah, that makes sense, right? Well, what if I'm really not crazy and I'm not lost my mind, and I haven't called anybody to come and get my guns, but someone else has called them and told them to come and get my guns, and they come and talk to me, and they decide, maybe I just got an erratic personality, I'm not dangerous at all, and they decide that my guns need to be taken. That's what you got to look for, because this is putting the responsibility of your guns in somebody else's hands, and that's how you lose freedom. That's how you lose your rights. That's how you lose. It's just a little step. It's like tearing. If you got a whole sheet of paper that is your Bill of Rights and the Constitution, all this stuff together, it's one whole sheet of paper. These guys in each county and each state will tear off of that paper, tear just little pieces until you're not left with anything. You see what I'm saying? You'll be left with nothing in the end. It might take a while, but this is the way you get there. This is the way you get to where you have nothing. All right, I'm gonna read the rest of it if I can find it. All right, so right now we're on crisis mode. The other Democratic sponsors are Senators Kerry Chambers, Armstrong, and Dennis Harper Angel of Louisville, and the Regional Thomas of Lexington. Now, these senators that are proposing this bill are from Louisville and Lexington, the two most major cities in Kentucky. They don't have anything in common with normal Kentuckians. These people are from the city, the biggest cities of Kentucky, and that's where they stay. They don't have any idea what it's like to be out in eastern Kentucky or southern Kentucky or anywhere else for that matter. Sheila Schuster, a licensed psychologist and executive director of the Kentucky Mental Health Coalition, previously told the Lantern that people with a mental illness are 10 times more likely to be a victim of a violent crime than to be a perpetrator. People with mental illness are 10 times more likely to be a victim instead of a violent perpetrator. She also said that suicidal people taking their lives happens at an astronomical percentage higher if there's a gun within reach than if there's not a gun. And that's true, but that's common sense, because if you are suicidal, so here we go. In Kentucky, in 2021, there was 534 suicides compared to 364 homicides. The same year, there was a suicide by firearm. So in 2021, there was 534 suicides. The same year, 2021, there was a suicide by firearm every 16 hours in Kentucky. So, there was 534 suicides. And then the very next line says, that same year, there was a suicide by a firearm every 16 hours in Kentucky. So 534 times 16. I'm going to see what that is. Hang on. So I wanted to check the math there. I knew they was close. 534 suicides. So every suicide in Kentucky in 2021, 534, was evidently done by a firearm. There was no other kind of suicides, no overdoses, no nothing like that, because that's exactly what this says right here. All right, I'm gonna read on. Westerfield called his bill constitutionally sound, and he hopes it gets a hearing in this session. As of Friday, January 26th, the bill was still in the Senate committee on the committees made up by the chamber's leaders. Westerfield is chairman of the Judiciary Committee. So that's it. Now, basically what this says is, if you or anyone around you feels that you shouldn't own a firearm for your own safety, they can simply call the sheriff's office, and they will come out and get your firearm and take them all from you, and you can't get them back until you rebuttal. They say you got to give a rebuttal, a reason to get them back. So they're taking them, and then they're not going to research the reason to take them. When they hear come and take them, they come and take them. You have to prove that you are able to get them back, even though maybe you're not in your wrong mind. Maybe you're just in. And see what this will lead to. This just leads to other stuff. So people that's in the city, people that live differently in Kentucky and all across the United States, there's people out there that never uses a gun and never sees a gun and never fires a gun, and that's great. They don't need guns. But there's people here like me and 99% of the other citizens of Kentucky and the United States that do use guns, and we need them. So just want to read that to you. Tell them to vote no. If you know how to get a hold of your senators, vote no on this bill. It's not good. Any kind of freedom taken away, any kind of laws made to do that, you never get them back. They never reverse these laws. So anyway, I'm going to go. That's it. Hope you guys have a blessed day. Talk to you later.